Meow, meow, meow.
It's meow time for KittenousBeast's gaming video for cats and their people. KatzeLande Prime, Episode 4. I'm hoping that you're going to enjoy this video with your cat sitting on your lap. We're going to be taking a look at a couple of things today in Oxygen Not Included that are related to sanitation and slime. We're picking up right where we left off on cycle 16, and we're going to take a look at some of the consequences of our actions from last time. We have added another duplicate to our base. Our duplicate, we've added, their name is Ari. Hello, Ari. Um, this means our oxygen consumption has increased. This means our carbon dioxide output has increased. It means our food consumption has increased. So there are several consequences to picking up an additional duplicate that we have to be thinking about as we're playing through today. Presently, we have 15 mealwood plants, so we're going to need to add 5 in order to keep balance with our new duplicate Ari. Uh, I'm not too worried right now. I have lots of extra calories from excellent fruits, so I'm going to let some of that extra calories get burned off before we actually finally put in the additional food production. I'm going to go ahead and place the tiles for that now and clear the space just so that it's ready to go when we're ready to add those extra mealwood plants into the colony. So our present goals are to get a foothold into the slime biome and to work a little bit on sanitation. Uh, we're nearly ready to do a little bit of break-in to this slime biome here. And what I'm going to do is add a pressurized door at this location here, because when we breach into this uh, pocket of gas and air, you can kind of see that this area is compressed at nearly 3 kilograms per tile. That's a lot less than my 1 kilogram per tile pressure here. So we're going to see a lot of this gas flood into this chamber. Perfectly fine. We're prepared for that, so shouldn't be a big deal. But we're going to want to make sure that we uh, seal the chamber after some of that gas floods in so that these deodorizers can take care of the pollutants. Remember that this particular gas pocket is pretty dangerous. There's a lot of slime lung germs in here, and I don't really want to have my duplicates getting sick this early in the game. I have no way of taking care of them. So best thing to do is to just avoid any complications we might get from that polluted oxygen with the slime lung germs inside of it. That's going to take a little bit of time. When we break open this chamber and the gas floods in, we're going to have to wait a while for that slime lung germ count to decrease significantly. So we may be waiting a while. That doesn't mean our work is going to stop. We'll continue doing some work up here in this newly opened ocean biome, and I do have the ability to mine abyssalite tiles. I assigned that skill point to Bert, so we will be able to pierce through this abyssalite. Again, there's polluted oxygen with slime lung germs, but the slime lung count is a lot lower over here than it is down here, where I think this is pretty much maximum number of germs you can have versus a much smaller number of germs, and that's due to the pressure differences. We've got half a kilogram of air per tile in this area versus 3 kilograms per air. I'm going to go ahead and pull our wiring up a little bit higher. Oh, I forgot to turn the game audio back on. Yeah, we're just about full on that wash basin. And that has to do with what we're doing over here with this bottle emptier. We'll talk about that with our sanitation project that we're going to be taking a look at. So with this bottle emptier in place and this deodorizer built, though it doesn't have power yet, we're going to be pushing our polluted water into this bottle opener. We don't have any polluted water yet because this wash basin hasn't needed to be emptied yet. But when it is emptied, there'll be a little bottle of polluted water we need to deal with. Otherwise, it will release polluted oxygen with food poisoning germs in it. We don't want to have to deal with that. So we'll move it over here where the deodorizer will clear up the polluted oxygen, and the oxygen over here can have a little bit of germs in it, and by the time it gets down to where my duplicates will be working, it's not really going to have an effect on them. We've completed a few researches. Again, Ruby's really been a huge research booster. So, yeah, we've got a little bit of a trouble with this shine bug here. As we're getting close to the end of the next cycle, this shine bug is really going to be a problem for our sleeping duplicates. I do hesitate to kill it, but to be honest with you, I really have no choice. A little bit of violence. I did give it a chance, to be fair, but yeah. As soon as these last bits of wire are put in place and these deodorizers are given some sand and this mechanized airlock is built, we'll be able to open up one of these tiles to let some of that polluted gas in to be cleaned up by the deodorizers. And we'll talk a little bit about controlling duplicate movement using doors to sort of keep the duplicates out of this space while that process of purification is happening. We'll kind of speed through the night here a little bit. And we've got distillation. The distillation technology unlocks our ability to purify polluted water. So there's this water sieve machine that we're going to be able to apply, and we will be using that to deal with polluted water. That opens the gateway for us to actually do a significant quality of life improvement for our duplicates. It's one step closer to some automated sanitation. We can perhaps eventually do away with these sort of unfortunate toilets. Now, what I was talking about has now happened. They've emptied the wash basin of the polluted water, and now it's releasing a little bit of polluted oxygen gas with some food poisoning on it. That's not something that we want to have happen, so let's go ahead and have them put it away into this little chamber. We'll boost the priority on the pitcher pump so that they take care of that sooner rather than later. Yeah, there are some additional penalties to some of the gases. So previously there wasn't really a big penalty for having a duplicate in polluted oxygen, but now they get this yucky lung penalty, which means that they'll consume more air than usual. That's definitely not a good thing. You can see that polluted oxygen with the food poisoning just kind of floating around here. Not very much of the gas is there, but just a little bit. Shouldn't be too big of a deal. Now that water is safely stored kind of in the corner here of the base. We're nearly set to breach into the slime biome here. Taking a look at our algae supply, 100 kilograms, with plenty more accessible. So we'll be able to get additional tiles of algae as needed. And, you know, before I crack that slime biome, I might want to set up some storage. Mine a few of those tiles. They don't have slime lung on them yet, so it's probably a good idea for me to harvest them now. We'll store the algae over here. Noticing a bunch of these fungal spores, we're going to be needing those. So make sure we grab those fungal spore seeds too before we crack open that biome. Grabbing all the seeds, not just the Once these last fungal spores are grabbed, we'll go ahead and crack the biome open and let some of this polluted gas in. Alright, let's do it. So I'm going to choose this topmost tile. The polluted oxygen tends to go high anyways. So by cracking this tile, we should get a lot of action on the gas. Now here's a nice thing about door access. So we can control whether the duplicants go up or down through a door or left or right through a door, depending on the orientation of the door. So I'm going to go ahead and revoke the down access so that my duplicants will travel up. That means Ruby, who's now sort of idle, standing there, should not be able to come back down while the gas floods in here and gets processed. Taking a look at the action, you can see the polluted oxygen's flowing into this chamber as I sort of anticipated. And my deodorizers are going to do a tremendous amount of purification on that gas. See them working away there. And yes, that slime lung germ spread is quite aggressive, but as the atmosphere of this chamber starts to stabilize into mostly oxygen, that number will start to rapidly decrease. The slime lung germ does not do well on oxygen. It will die, and it looks like it'll take 3 cycles on oxygen before it's really completely destroyed. maybe 4 cycles. We'll see. Meanwhile, over here, we are storing this polluted water with lots of food poisoning germs, and there is a little bit of polluted oxygen gassing out, and so now we've got some food poisoning germs spreading around here. And again, this deodorizer is going to make it so that the atmosphere stays oxygen. That'll kill the germs off, and by the time my duplicants are breathing it, there won't really be any kind of dangerous concentration of germs. We've got 4 idle duplicants. We should really get to work. So let's think about what our next steps will be this morning. I certainly don't want to leave that polluted water in this chamber for too long. And we've just done some plumbing research, so we'll be able to put a pump here. We've got the power all the way up there already, so that's just a quick power connection. And what we're going to do, fortunately we're low on metal, so that's going to have to be on our to-do list right now, to get a little bit of additional metal. Some metal accessible here. Nice big metal deposit here. Some more metal down here. So lots of choices. This is directly accessible, but that'll lower our water pool, causing our carbon dioxide to fall lower. That's not ideal. There's a free tile right there I can just go ahead and grab. And I think we'll go with these tiles there as well. Alright, with that little bit of material collected, we can now go ahead and think about where we're going to put our refinement distiller here. So a little bit of a water sieve to clean up this dirty water down here. So think about how high I want to go with this. Probably not too high. But I do actually want to get a little bit high. I would rather not have my duplicants pass through this dirty water while they're trying to get over to the equipment. So I might actually build it up a little bit higher. I want to make sure I'm respecting the boundaries of my column here, right? This thought that we're going to have some sort of large tunnel. So I'll go ahead and place a couple more tiles to remind me of that boundary as I'm planning out this next part of the build. Go ahead and put that there. Alright, so we'll have to maybe do something a little bit like this. So at least 1 or 2 air tiles. Just carving out a little bit of space for this equipment. Taking a look down here, see lots of contamination. And it's going to take some time before that contamination goes down. Fabulous. All right, let's work on placing that water sieve so that we can deal with that impure water that will get pumped up by this reservoir down here. I think we'll probably go that way. Right. And we'll need tiles here. I'm going to be using some regular liquid pipes to transport the water into the sieve from the pump. Extend my wiring up. We're going to be looking at a pretty interesting setup once we get this water sieve built. Keeping an eye on my germ counts. Hopefully this will start to stabilize and we won't see very many slime lung germs. We'll need to kind of expand our array of deodorizers to deal with the rest of that polluted oxygen in there. But right now it's just too dangerous to send the dupes down in there. Ooh, an oxyfern. Oh wow. Very tempting to pick up this May. The ranching skill is really nice. That's a pretty powerful perk. And all of these nice traits too. But I'm not quite there to be able to pick up an additional dupe just yet. And this oxyfern will be nice. Help offset some of my carbon dioxide production. So I'm going to go ahead and go with the oxyfern this time. Maybe we'll get a better duplicate for ranching later. We've got some idle dupes again. Let's continue to work on this project. So the water sieve will purify the water to take it from the polluted state into the regular water state, but it doesn't do anything about the germs. So the water is still going to be filled with germs. Not really a good idea to be using that water for anything where consumption is involved. But we'll set up a use for that soon enough. Taking a look at where we might want to plan out that usage. And again, I'm trying to really be careful about respecting my plan for this column being sort of a tunnel for vertical movement and this being a tunnel for horizontal movement. So I'm going to start to kind of plan out how I'm going to use this water sieve to improve my base. Maybe, yeah, that might be a good option. 76. Okay. That's a pretty big mining project. earlier concerns about opening up large chunks of the base or the space inside of the starting biome are reduced now. We do have a good amount of algae, and our oxygen diffuser can help fill those tiles up with oxygen. So I'm not as concerned about that, opening up this space. And we'll be able to put it to good use once the duplicates mine it all out. What we're shooting for next in terms of the research is to take our refined water and put it to use in sanitation. So we're going to get restrooms, sinks, showers, and the mesh tile floor pieces. Notice my oxygen warning here, saying that I'm just a little bit under the required oxygen production. Totally fine. Again, using automation to regulate how much oxygen is produced by this diffuser is going to keep us kind of right where we need to be in terms of oxygen production. Still pretty strong with the even with an oxygen environment, we're still getting a lot of germs, although the number of germs seem to be going down further into the space here. So I'm gonna turn this chamber into some important sanitation buildings, and we'll hopefully be able to take a look at some of the pipe work that's necessary to get a nice sanitation system set up. Alright, so just thinking about this in terms of how it'll all work. I'm going to put the entrance to the restroom back here. I'm going to leave a little bit of space because I want to have sort of an internal ladder structure as well as an external ladder structure when the main channel is running up against part of my base. It's just going to make more sense that way. So I'm planning those extra 2 tiles for a ladder eventually. And again, we talked about the iterative development process as it relates to this game. Basically, you're going to rebuild and build your base over and over again. And the sooner you get comfortable with that, the better things are going to go. Because you won't be stuck. You'll be able to, oh, I got to tear this down and redo it. It happens. You're going to have to do it eventually. Doing a little bit of future proofing by giving yourself some space for ladders or access. It's just the smartest thing you can do. Alright. And again, you know, the air in this chamber is going to be a little bit light for a little while the pressure starts to catch up between this area and that area. So, it's not like I'm building houses or bedrooms here. This is really just going to be a bathroom. So, I'm not too concerned. And, even going in with that ladder idea, I may as well uh, punch a little bit of airflow in here. Let's see. Just take a quick peek around the zone. All right, I'm going to give a gift to myself right here. This is going to be a nice little gift to myself in terms of the gameplay. Um, I'm going to plan on putting some plants in here, and maybe I can turn that into a nature reserve or something. So I'm going to kind of think about leaving some of these natural tiles in place to do that. I might even put one in here. Even though I'm destroying a couple of these plants, I can very easily replant them if I need to using a pip. And we'll go over that in more detail when we're actually gonna have to actually use that technique. We'll talk about putting a ladder there. Might as well just do it right now. It's really going to help with gas flow. That carbon dioxide will come right down here. Let's keep playing to that theme that we have, a gas vent here. So I'll go ahead and make that a reality. Gas management and doing stuff like this is really going to just make your base work better. So taking advantage of it when you haven't really built anything, to build things in a way that your gases are going to kind of naturally go where you want them to go. You don't want to have to build gas pumps in weird places to move gas around. It's not a good idea. So, alright, let's talk about the restroom here. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put, the number is important. I have to kind of space this out right. So, I'm hoping I can do possibly, well, with the high ceiling. Okay, with the high ceiling and a light bulb there, I can get 3, I think. 3, 1, 2, possibly 3. Put them all next to each other. Yeah, I think that'd work. Here's the light low. Yeah. Oh, it's too bad it doesn't show that preview. Then I should probably think about how I'm going to trigger that. Yeah, it's not the same area. Yeah, I mean, it would work. Just considering my lighting options. We'll talk about why lighting is important as well. So, basically, when you have a light next to a machine or tool that the duplicants use, if it's lit, they'll use it faster. A really, really straightforward concept, like a use bonus. So, if you're going to build, a machine that's used constantly by your duplicants, no, it's not used constantly. I mean, they use it twice a day or whatever. See, that's, yeah, it makes sense to incorporate that bonus into the design of your facility. You know, I have the ability to make this automated wire. I might as well put it to use. You know, this is going to require a tiled floor. Again, here's another gift to myself. You know, giving myself the option to have 2 tiles of space here as I start to build the base in a more formal way. These 2 tiles are going to allow me to put in a fire pole, and that'll really help make my duplicates faster. So, you know, it's all about kind of planning things out in advance. So we've got 2 toilets. That means we're going to need 2 sinks. So let's see what we look like with 2 sinks. Put the door on the block. Yeah. That leaves me... I mean, we could probably put some nice decorative items in there, that space in the middle. Or we could just push them together a little bit more. I do like the idea of having a little bit more space. Yeah, that's fine. Alright, so we're gonna finish the build up here. This is gonna kinda wanna make me put a tunnel on top. So I'm gonna go ahead and just do that. And it's just gonna make the build easier if I have access to the top as well. And I'm trying to anticipate airflow issues, providing these spots here for additional airflow to the sides. Should be helpful with the management of the gases. So we've been running out of power, so it might be a good idea for us to invest in some battery technology now. Eventually going to need to deal with a power plant, so I'm going to go ahead and do the research all the way up to smart batteries. That might be one of the last researches I do for a little while. I don't want to continue to lean on the water down here to power my supercomputer. This water is nice and cold, and with the machinery that I'm going to have access to, I could possibly produce some recycled water that I could use instead of the water that's nice and pure and clean. Look at him go. What a great team. Bert does a great job of charging that battery up in a short amount of time because of his high operations skill. Everything's worked really well because of that early combination. High research and high operation. It's really helped me smooth things along. kind of getting to the point where we need to start how the plumbing is going to work. Figure that piece of the puzzle out. So we're going to be using some liquid pipes here. And now that I notice I don't have the pipes that allow you to have better insulation, I'm not going to completely pipe out the system just yet. So I'm going to pull across here. We'll build a doorway here. We'll set that up a certain way. We need power up here anyway, so we might as well build that part of the system in. That's not controversial at all. Probably wire up our light really fast. Oops. Our duplicate sensor. We're going to be putting several more of these lights in. But that will certainly speed up the sanitation process. So, adding lights to these machines that they're going to use constantly just makes sense. And truly, I probably should put a light in over here by the manual generator and these research stations. So I may actually do that next. In fact, I had sort of thought on doing it, but never implemented it. There's spaces for lights right here. So maybe I'll go ahead and set that stuff up now. Keep my duplicates busy. I have to make some more refined aluminum. Not a problem. It's totally worth it. Nice. Okay. Look at this, we might even get one of those lamps set up. Okay, let's take a look at how that's going to work. So when a duplicate comes nearby, this will trigger to green, which will turn the light on. That means that the light will turn on and off only when there's a duplicate nearby, which is exactly what happens when they're operating the machinery. So the next time one of our workers comes here and does something, we'll take a look at the effect that this light has on their work efficiency. Uh-oh, one of our toilets is out of use. That's bad. Especially if they're taking their rest break. And this kind of situation is exactly what we'll be able to avoid forever once we build this sanitation system properly. You know, like the, oh, I hope one of my guys isn't going to have an accident during the workday now, kind of a concern. Checking their bladders to make sure that they've all used the restroom. Okay, that's good. Hopefully all of this equipment will be... Okay, so here's Bert. He's by the light now. He's got the lit workspace bonus. That means he's going to work 15% faster. That's a pretty significant bonus. At what cost? At the cost of 8 watts. And the 8 watts is only going to be used when there's a duplicate nearby. So it's not a huge drain on my power system. This is a great, great, great thing that I've just set up. It's going to make my research more efficient. It's going to make my battery recharge more efficient from Bert. This is going to be a significant advantage to my colony that I've set this up. It's going to make the rock crusher work faster. You know, by giving myself that little bit of space and doing a little pre-planning, now my colony has this equipment room that's in pretty good shape. You know, it's not perfect, but it's certainly going to work really well for the time being. You know, similarly, I can actually give myself that line of space now. Sort of noticing that I should have gone over another tile. And we'll rebuild appropriately. Yeah, let's just make sure I'm only deleting buildings. Yeah, that's going to be much nicer. It'll give it a little bit more symmetry all like that. Alright, how are we doing? Maybe we'll up the priority on some of these build tasks. I do want this project to get finished pretty soon. Let's check how our germs are doing down here. And yeah, the number of germs is slowly decreasing. So this situation will eventually stabilize down to something less dangerous. Once it's done that, we'll be able to expand this deodorizer array and deal with the remainder of the polluted oxygen, hopefully without much incident. We'll just let these germs die down a little bit longer before taking action. Oh no, Bert, you're in danger. Bert's kind of gotten ahead of himself over here. And if we're near the end of the workday, he might get stranded. So, gotta be careful about that. Alright. Might be a good chance for us to look for that insulated piping. We definitely want to use insulated piping with this project. We'll talk about why that's the case. Here we go. Yeah. Once we get the research purchased. See what's on the printer. Some sandstone. Construction plus 11. Now that would be nice. Cannot dig. Oh dear. Oh, and plus, look at that. So you have loads of construction talent. But that not being able to dig is kind of a deal breaker at this stage of the game. I'll just take the sandstone. Alright. Looks like everybody's unhappy with their meal. That's too bad. Not much I can do for them right now. Checking my little germy friends over here. Making sure that they're dying. Maybe I should have taken out those slime blocks first. Might have to send somebody in there real quick and knock out some of those slime blocks to get some of this nasty germ to go away sooner. Check. Interesting. Yeah, I should automate some of this watering of these plants. That might be my next project after I finish this sanitation project. Alright, so let's figure out the permissions for these doors here. And again, I've kind of shot myself in the foot here a little bit with the position of this ladder and this hand sanitizer. But I can fix that with some more directional control. Yeah. Hmm. So I'm going to try and control the flow of the duplicates in and out of the base so that they pass through these hand sanitizers. Although, that really shouldn't be a problem because they'll pass through these sinks one way or another. So I don't know if I really need that door after all. Alright, I think we're nearly done with that research to get the insulated pipes. And we'll be using those to complete the rest of the build. Kind of on hold until that happens. What we're going to do is we're going to feed these machines this purified but germy water, and it'll go into the toilets and the sinks, and that actually is totally fine. Like, the sinks and the toilets can use germy water, but it doesn't add to the duplicate's germs at all. So I think it's like, the germs all get killed by the high pressure or whatever, I don't know. Or maybe they'll eventually change it so that you have to use clean water with your, maybe your sinks at least, I don't know. But yeah, so out comes this water. And again, this water here does have germs on it. Should have the food poisoning germ. Okay. Alright, yeah, we got our insulated pipes. So let's take a look at the plumbing. So for the input, we'll just use regular old insulated pipes. No fancy schmanciness here. Okay. So we're feeding the input the water. It's going to allow these machines to function. If they don't have water, they won't work. Now, the outputs will also do with insulated material. Let's see. Let's go like So the outputs are going to be pushed into a return pipe. Okay, great. And then again, insulated pipes are going to carry the output away, back into the system. So we've got a little bit of a height difference here. I don't want another doorway into the base set up just yet. So what I'll do is, I think I'll come down with that pipe. Yeah, let's go across. Kick it off to a liquid bridge. And then we can use regular pipe from here on out. We'll just connect it into this system, like so. Alright, awesome. So we've completed the plumbing. Let's just take a quick review here. So we've got our clean water supply coming from this water purifier. It'll feed the machines, the toilets, and the sinks. They'll use that water and turn it into polluted water and return it back to the water sieve as such. Now, there's going to be actually extra polluted water produced. When they use the sink, it's like a one-to-one thing, I think, mostly. So you get in as much water as you put into the system. So you get out as much as you put in, basically. But with the toilets, they actually add to the mass of the polluted water. This makes sense. So they'll actually wind up producing more water cycle after cycle than you actually put into the system. So it's sort of a water positive system, which is totally fine. You can definitely take advantage of that and make the operation of your base a lot more efficient, which is exactly what I'm doing. We will not be using any of this pure, cool water at all to operate any of our sanitation equipment here. It'll all be operated off of polluted water. And it will work as long as we have our water sieve powered up. So we should be okay. We'll go ahead and prioritize the rest of these pipes just so that they get it done. Alright, so with that sanitation project coming along, take a peek at our slime foothold. We haven't really made very much progress here. I may send a guy down into here to clean out these slime blocks that may be contributing to why the slime lung is lingering along here. But, you know, it is going down in certain places. It's just still pretty high. I mean, it's half as much as what it was, but it's been a few cycles. I was hoping it would be a little bit more reduced than that. Yeah, these slime lung germs are really going to be annoying. Alright, so, let's talk about why we chose to use insulated pipes for the interior of the base. So, this water is eventually going to kind of heat up. I think the output water from the toilets is always like 30 something degrees. So eventually these pipes are going to get heated up to 30 or 40 degrees. And we do not want that heat being applied into the base any faster than it needs to. So that's why we use these insulated pipes. So generally when you're doing a project in your base and you're doing some piping, probably just smarter to use insulated pipes. If you're outside your base and you're just trying to get the job done in a hurry, you probably don't care too much about the heat. You just use regular pipes. Now that that's taken care of, we can actually dismantle, as long as we, yeah. So we're changing the permission on this door so that the duplicants pass through it can only pass through it on the left. That way, if they come in here to use the restroom, they can't leave this door. They must clean their hands in the sink before setting into the rest of the base. This is going to guarantee that any duplicant who comes in through this door washes their hands. Just like we have a hand washing station here. So I was thinking about setting the permissions special for these doors, but honestly, if they come in on this level, they're going to get sanitized. If they come in on this level, they're going to get sanitized. So we can leave both of these doors fully functional and not worry about germs getting too far into our base. Right, so what's left to do is to sweep up all that junk so that it's more of a nice place to be. Take a look at the, where's that? Oh, yeah. It's a washroom, right? So now they have +2 morale for using a real washroom versus using this latrine. Look, here they go. Yeah, they're happy to use that restroom. And lit workspace, 15% speed bonus for using it with the light being automated by the sensor. So, not only is this going to be a efficient way to process and keep our plumbing working, it's going to be a little while before the system charges this pipe up completely. So next thing we're going to need to do is just do some finishing touches on the system. Take a peek at our foothold here, maybe take some action, and then maybe even consider do a little bit of automating here for our oxyfern plants to eliminate that water pitcher errand, and then maybe even start to plan out a mushroom farm, because we're definitely going to want to switch away from mealwood and convert over to mushrooms. It's just a much more efficient food source. Uh-oh. Looks like there's some trouble here with our gas management. The chamber is full of carbon dioxide. This is not good for their sleep, so might have to address that issue next time as well. A lot to think about. Might as well give the order. You were a little bit like, whoa, why is he off by 2 tiles? Part of it was just, this was a natural chamber right at the beginning of the game. Just break as few tiles as possible. That's why we had an offset room. I'm sure that was maybe a concern. But we'll get rid of it and build it better. And perhaps figure out what we're going to build here. Might be a good thing to think about too. So, none of our problems are completely solved, but we certainly have a nice upgrade in place for right now. Alright, well that's going to bring us to the end of this video. I hope if you have a cat, it has fallen asleep or walked away, in which case it's mission accomplished here. Our KittenousBeast gaming video is for their cats and their people. So I hope you have a great day, and we'll be seeing you.